Makingascene.org brings you The Collapse of Gatekeepers, what happens when artists own everything. For decades, the industry operated on a rigid divide. You, the artist, manufactured the music, while a separate class of institutional gatekeepers owned the infrastructure required to reach the public. Look at this early broadcasting studio. The staff operating these turntables and microphones dictated discovery. Without a radio programmer's approval, a record remained silent. Physical constraints created a second bottleneck in the record shop. Limited shelf space made corporate distribution deals a requirement to reach customers. Because these institutions controlled the only viable paths to an audience, they dictated the price of entry. To secure a spot on those shelves or airwaves, musicians surrendered ownership of their master recordings, their publishing, and their creative direction.
The old model used this lopsided leverage to make artists feel lucky to be managed, trading their long-term equity for a moment of institutional permission. Digital distribution arrived with the promise of total autonomy. The narrative suggested that uploading a track from a bedroom was the end of gatekeeping, but the barriers simply migrated. Instead of a radio programmer, reach is now determined by platform policies, opaque feed algorithms, and the internal logic of a few dominant tech companies. An artist can generate a massive surge of attention, represented by these dots. But as that flow enters the platform's opaque corporate box, the data is harvested by the provider, leaving the artist with nothing but a follower count and disconnected drops of revenue. Streaming platforms function as a global discovery layer, effectively a digital library with an attached tip jar. This is an excellent tool for exposure, but it is not a complete business model for an independent musician. Treating access to an app as true independence creates a dangerous vulnerability. If your entire career depends on a platform you do not own, you are essentially renting visibility on someone else's terms. While master ownership remains a priority, a second asset has become just as critical to a modern career: fan data. If a master recording is the product, fan data is the map required to sell it. It identifies who the listeners are, where they live, and exactly what they value. Social media's role has changed. Instead of a final destination, it must function as a doorway. The goal is moving listeners through that door into an environment you control, like your email list, SMS database, or private website. A follower is merely a platform signal of engagement. A reachable fan in your private database is the true foundation of a sustainable business. Platforms build their value on memory, logging every click, skip, and save. Artists, however, often walk away from a concert or a merch sale with no record of who was actually there. The Making a Scene Fan Passport addresses this by providing a permission-based memory system. It allows an artist to track real-world demand and nurture repeat connections over years. When a fan taps an NFC tag at a show, they create a permanent link, converting a brief physical encounter into a secure, artist-owned relationship. Artificial intelligence serves as a scalable back office for the independent artist, handling the heavy administrative lift. This isn't about songwriting, it's about coordination. AI can analyze ticket data, draft marketing maps, and organize release calendars, tasks that used to require a full department at a major label. Owning this data allows for a resilient revenue stack. An artist can combine streaming income, direct-to-fan vinyl sales, local ticketing, and VIP access into a single, unified economy. Advanced tools only provide value when they are used to convert fleeting, rented attention into measurable, artist-owned revenue. The collapse of gatekeeping doesn't mean labels and agents disappear. It means they no longer have absolute veto power over an artist's ability to earn. When an artist controls their distribution, maintains a direct relationship with fans, the balance of power shifts. You are no longer asking for a chance to be seen. You have leverage because you know exactly where your fans are, what rooms you can fill, and what products they will support. This enables a new question during every industry negotiation. What value do you add to the business I already own? The music industry is undergoing a systemic repricing. Middlemen who previously sold nothing but access are now forced to provide measurable, high-level value to stay in the deal. This shift in leverage accumulates brick by brick through thousands of individual daily decisions. It happens when a fan joins a mailing list at a show, when a direct email sells a ticket,
Or right here, when a tour is plotted strictly based on these fan data nodes rather than guesswork. Through this process, the independent creator moves from a renter on a tech giant's land to a sovereign owner of their own professional ecosystem. Make sure you check out the other great articles and resources on makingascene.org, the place the indie artist goes to build the new music industry. The future music middle class will be built by artists who own their relationships, not by those waiting for an algorithm to choose them.